Faith has to be lived. Faith has to be given expression. Faith has to change the impact of your daily routine, or it's not real. So what's it mean to have a dynamic faith? I want to explore that with you for a few sessions. And we're going to talk about an amazing life. But before we do, I just couldn't help myself today. I think we need to take just a moment to acknowledge the theater of the absurd. They have not been doged. They continue to produce new releases. And without a biblical worldview, it'll be confusing to you. It's confusing to me sometimes. I have to step back and go, does that really make sense? Should I really be frightened? Should I really be agitated? Should I really be burning Teslas? Well, I mean, there's a lot of messaging and a lot of powerful, important people. You know, a year ago, an electric vehicle was mandated everywhere, and now we're burning them everywhere we can find one. That was the greatest existential threat to our existence a year ago. But that's not one of the releases I want to talk about. The one that seems to be front and center in recent weeks has to do with the illegal aliens in our nation, those trespassers who came here without permission, against the law, from all over the world. And the current administration campaigned upon the promise to remove those that particularly were violent criminals. And from the beginning, since the inauguration until today, that's been like front and center every day. I mean, so much drama, right? Whether you're for it or against it, so much drama. It seems like everybody's leaving. There's hardly any of us left. I mean, wow, you got to check your neighbors if they come for them in the dark. And I mean, everybody's leaving, there's a celebration, and then there's another group that are really upset about it, and then the federal judges get involved, and you can't do this. I mean, it's like, wow, so much drama. So I did a little work. There have been just a little more beyond 30,000, not 40,000 people total have been deported. Violent gang members, TDA members, people that have committed some horrific crimes. And while we can celebrate that, I mean, it certainly seems like this overwhelming number. That's why you're checking your neighbors. Is there anybody left on my block? So I'm not I can operate the buttons on a calculator. I checked. Of the illegal immigrants that are here, that number represents less than 2%. More than 20 million folks came in. The number deported reflects less than what was coming across the border on a weekly basis. It's negligible. I mean, I'm grateful that violent, murderous gang members are being moved, but if you just watch the headlines, whether they're for the deportations or they're against it, you would think the majority of the population has been moved. We have court cases and federal judges and restraining orders and mayors of major cities refusing to cooperate and governors using their power to resist. Where were the federal judges and their restraining orders when there were flights bringing people illegally into our country being paid for by our government to NGOs? Where's the concern for the citizens of our nation? Where was the concern for the hundreds of thousands of children that just disappeared? Where's the concern for the children of our own communities, where education and health care has been affected by the 20 million plus people with overburdened systems? Citizenship matters. Rights and responsibilities come with citizenship. If there are no responsibilities, there can be no rights. Just don't be confused. What you've watched perhaps would be the inkling of the potential of what might happen, but it's scarcely a beginning. I'm not criticizing I'm just telling you, when you're watching and compared to what we have been seeing and what we've experienced, the response is a bit of a tempest in a teapot. I'll give you another release from the theater of the absurd. This one's a bit more personal. It's the very intentional paganization of healthcare. We said we wanted this. The numbers were overwhelming not very many years ago. Recent history. We demanded the right of universal health care. And what we really meant by that, if you interpreted it and extrapolated it out, is we wanted free health care for everybody. And the way we thought that could most directly be achieved was by granting the government the authority to co-opt health care. And so here we are, witnessing the systematic removal of a Christian worldview from our healthcare systems. Oh, this is real. This is not theoretical. This release is taking place amongst us. I'm not going to spend a lot of time highlighting it for you, but doctors are reluctant to pray with their patients. The Christian doctors. They do it quietly. Many of them are persistent and determined. There's fear of lawsuits. There's fear of reprisal from the administrations and the administrators and the corporate overlords. The doctors who dare to speak out for the protection of our children, our babies, they're censored, disciplined, or pressured completely to leave the system. That's not theoretical. People that I do life with, people I talk to are experiencing that as we speak. Other doctors who advocate for treatments which isn't blessed by the CDC or the NIH, which are such bastions of truthfulness and integrity and scientific prowess. If you dare to disagree with those organizations that have been so corrupted, or the AMA, which is somewhere on the other side of woke, those doctors are threatened with loss of their hospital privileges or even their credentials being removed. And it doesn't take a great number of individuals having that fate forced upon them without the rest of the medical community who spent a decade or more training in order to practice medicine, understanding that if they don't cooperate with the ungodly mantra that's being handed down by our government and the corporate overlords, they too will lose their right to practice. It seems to me that the most logical way to respond to this would be to begin to imagine a return to Christian health care. That seems far-fetched, but only because we don't know our history. Christians have been responsible for much of the finest health care available in our nation until very recently. In our own community, we knew Baptist hospitals, St. Thomas hospitals. In our own community, we watched him take the cross off the hospital. In Memphis, much celebrated, the Children's Hospital, St. Jude's. There's still 726 faith-based hospitals in our nation as of 2016. That was the last time I could get good data. But for many years, the Christians were the primary underwriters of the outstanding health care in our nation. How have we arrived at a place so quickly where our Christian worldview isn't even welcomed in the system? We can't be silent, folks. If it's free and it takes God out, it's not a bargain. Don't be angry at Christian organizations or whomever that has resources. They need the resources and be able to step into these arenas. Amen, Pastor. Amen. There's some good news. This didn't come from the theater of the absurd. It came from the theater of the blessed. Our own local school board, the Rutherford County School Board, prayed, made a decision, voted to begin their meetings with prayer, not just a moment of silence. Acts of courage over the threats of all sorts of stuff. Your voices matter. You're paying attention. Don't stop. Shake off the lethargy and the apathy and use your voice in the places where God has planted you. We want to be expressions of a dynamic faith. It's the best way to an amazing life. Honoring God with your life will bring the most amazing life possible. Wickedness will not lead you to an amazing life. It will lead you to destruction. I've had enough birthdays to know that from experience. It's not just theoretical to me. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel. You know the drill. Hit the bell for notifications. If you want to, leave a comment.